Not all gigs are equal. Some just pay, but others will actually make you better. Today's guest built a company with multiple bands performing every week, creating real work for musicians. But he doesn't hire just anybody. You can't just be good at your instrument, and we get into why that is the case. Let's jump in. Jason, thank you for being here today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you've got a lot of different titles, but one of the titles that I'm interested in and really want to break down today is that you are the owner and band leader of this premium events band, or what would you call it?
Yeah, entertainment.
Entertainment.
Event entertainment band.
And I know that you play corporate events, you do weddings as well, is that right? But what keeps you the most busy?
It's split pretty evenly. I'd say the majority of our company, we have four different versions of our band. So it gets split pretty even between weddings and fundraisers, galas, city events, stuff like that. But the majority, like I'd say, probably 60% are weddings. And that's just because you have a lot of those happening more than anything else.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about the origin story because I want to know everything about the band, but how do you even hatch up an idea like that?
The band initially got the idea. I got the idea from being in another wedding band. I joined them and was performing with them, and didn't really. I wanted to push the band leader more in a direction that I wanted to go, which was more entertainment based, and I wanted to act like crazy on stage a little bit more, and have less of the typical bands back when we started, before we started our band. They didn't do as much entertainment, and they definitely didn't do like medleys and stuff like that. It was more play a song, have a break, a silence, and then play the next song. Where I wanted it to be more just nonstop music, kind of like a DJ. That was the initial idea, was I wanted a band that was like a DJ, where you just never stopped, and you took people on the rides, and you took the audience on the ride, but you never lost the entertainment factor. You never lost their attention. A lot of times bands they stand there for a minute, and then, the audience kind of looks away and doesn't care anymore. And I wanted to get away from that. So I was with this band. They were called Live Revival. They were amazing. I had a lot of fun with them. And I was doing the sound. I was one of the lead singers, and I was kind of like calling all the tunes, because I eventually convinced the leader to put everything into order, into like blocks of music, and I just call the blocks, because I'm like, we know the song list. Let's get that song list put together. Let's put it into blocks. That way I can just call those songs, and we can just go song to song to song. We agreed to that, and I got him to do a little bit of dancing. We had a couple songs that we did dancing for, but he eventually just wasn't willing to go to that next level. And so that's where kind of the genesis of 12 South came out, was I wanted to take it to the next level. I wanted it to be more of a professional, kind of like Bruno Mars type of thing, where you see dancing and singing all together. And so I went to my wife, then girlfriend, and asked her for $6,000. And I was very much not a reliable human being at that point in my life. And she did not want to give me that money. So she said, no, you're not getting that money, because to start this band, she's like, she didn't know that I would stick with it at all. I had no stick with it at that point in my life. And so I was talking, and one of my friends who ran a wedding band similar, he offered to make us their secondary band. So we went and started under him, basically, and he would give us gigs. And Anna was like, okay, I can do this. I can handle this. And we kind of had a deal with him that he would shoot a video and do some other stuff. And everything was going to be great. And we started doing gigs. And I was using his musicians and his singers and stuff like that. And they were not wanting. At that time, nobody did dancing in the wedding industry in Nashville, especially. And so none of them were open to dancing and entertaining and learning medleys and all of that. So it was very much a butting of the heads. Eventually, my friend got upset or something and ended up not booking us as much and didn't shoot a video. So we decided, we went to him and we're like, hey, can we shoot a video? And, that way you can use it for promotion. And he's like, well, you can do that, but you can't put it under my name. We're like, okay, so what name are we supposed to put on it? He's like, I don't care, just it can't be under my name. We're like, okay. And so we came up with 12 South and shot a video, and then, had a falling out with him because he had given a lot of our gigs that he was supposed to give it to us. He gave it to somebody else and had started another band. And so that kind of just solidified us and strengthened us into starting our version. And from there, it just grew. It just kind of took off, and we turned the screws on everything and got new players and got new people, and really kind of crystallized. Once Anna came on board with it more on its own, it really crystallized the direction we wanted to go. She has a dance background, so she brought all this dancing and that to it that enhanced what I wanted to do, because I wanted dancing in the show. I wanted the entire show to be a medley, like a DJ. And we eventually just put our skills together and began building it, and it just took off. Like, we got the right people in there, and there were a lot of growing pains. Don't get me wrong, there were a ton of growing pains, but eventually we landed in where we're at now, where, we've built a big company that travels all over the world and does stuff.
That's so cool. So was it a strategic play to start dating your now wife, Anna, because you needed a choreographer?
No, I met her long before that. I can't say that I dated her directly for that skill. That didn't hurt, though.
Yeah, it's a plus. No, what I'm really curious about, though, is, I work with singers all the time, and everyone, 99% of the people I work with, have this delusion that they can perform well without having any performance experience. And what you're describing to me is that you were in that band and you knew that the show could be better. How did you know the show could be better? How could there be all these musicians who are cool with the status quo, but you're seeing that there can be improvements?
I mean, I was always one to compare myself to the best of the best. Yeah. So when I looked at what the best entertainers in the world were doing, they were dancing, they were singing, they were putting on they were building moments. There's a teacher here in Nashville named Tom Jackson. He's a great, phenomenal stage coach. And I found some of his videos as well along the way at some point, and it just made sense to me. It clicked in that, oh, hey, this is about building a moment in a show, and that's what all these professionals are doing. And I wanted to model myself after them. And standing there just singing or standing there just playing your instrument is just not what I would call fully entertaining people. Yeah, it's great for their ears, but 99% of live performance is what they see. Mm-hmm. People have to, when they're watching you, if they're bored, they're going to tune out. But if they're entertained visually, it's going to change their mental thing to think that you're actually better player and singer and everything than what you really are. And it's a phenomenon that you have with everybody. Everybody will realize that if you go and watch a show, you'll see a boring show and it'll be good. But then you'll see a not boring show by a band that maybe isn't quite as good of players, but it's phenomenal and you remember it for the rest of your life because of the fact that it's entertaining. It's a moment in your life. We don't remember the everyday moments of our life. We remember the peaks and the valleys. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to create peaks for people. I wanted people to walk in and, be excited and have something that they're going to walk away with and remember for the rest of their lives.
And I know you to be a very strict band leader in terms of quality. So when you're saying that the entertainment's first, even entertainment's higher impact than just musical talent, you still emphasize musical talent. Yeah.
Yes. I have high standards for people. It's not necessarily that I have high standards for talent necessarily. It's more that I have high expectations and I push everybody to do their best. I have a deep belief that every day is another day of your career, right? Like this is a day in your career. So if you're performing that day, that's one of your performances in your life. You may die the next day. Is that the career you want? Is you want to go out on like a half-assed performance? No, you want to go out on your best. So believing that every day could be your last day and taking that mentality to every show, no matter the size of the show. A lot of the times people will slack off when it's a small show. They'll be like, well, this doesn't matter. But some of our biggest gigs have come from small shows and us killing it at a small show and somebody being there and going, oh my gosh, we want you to come to Bermuda and play over here for this event. Well, we wouldn't have got that if we would have just mailed it in on that day. So I hold people to that account and I hold people to that standard of do your best, like bring your best. I am strict in the fact that I want everything memorized. I want you to know the choreography, and I won't accept you not showing up and doing that. I won't accept you not showing up and looking like a bum. If you show up and look like a bum, you're going to get yelled at by me. And then you're going to get sent back, and if you show up at the next gig that way. Mm-hmm. So I believe that you have to set those types of standards because people, one, they want that. People like that. As much as people don't like being pushed, they actually do enjoy being pushed. They enjoy being held to account and being expected to do their best. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't people along the way that have gotten very angry at me. Mm-hmm. I have a reputation around the industry of being one of the more strict bands because of that. But I believe that it's better to push people and have them be a little angry at you now and appreciate you later, because most of the people that come through our company end up going off to bigger stuff and better stuff,
Yeah, I just heard from Anna recently that one girl who sang with you guys is now going to be the lead for a Broadway production in New York.
Yeah, she's the lead next to Megan Thee Stallion. She's doing Moulin Rouge. And she was, a singer of ours quite a few years ago, and, she came through and did her thing, and that's awesome. I'm glad that we could be a small part of her story and her legacy that she's building. But yeah, we've had lots of people come through, lots of audio engineers that come through and go off and tour with big artists. We've had drummers and keyboardists and singers and all sorts of people that come through and learn the basics of entertainment through us and then take that out into the world and improve things.
Have you stayed in touch with some of those people?
Yeah, we're in touch with just about everybody.
Wow. Because I'd be curious to ask them, and I'm sure you guys talk about it. You set the bar so high for what your shows have to be like, and there are plenty of label artists on the road who don't have that high a bar. So have they ever made that comment to you that they feel like in terms of the live show, it took a step down?
Yeah. There's been a few people that have said that it's less organized and less strict of a setup with other groups, with other places and other groups that they've been. So yeah, we have had that comment before.
Yeah, and it's not to talk trash about them, but I think the deeper you get into music and meet people who are professionals, the more comprehensive a picture you get of what it's really like, because people get gigs that they feel are, this is the job of a lifetime. And then when they get it and are in it, they realize, oh, this isn't fulfilling for one reason or another. And I think one reason can be I'm working with a band, again, might be a big label artist, but I'm working with a band that doesn't care to provide the best show ever. They're just kind of there to do a job. and they would actually find more fulfillment, maybe not being with an original artist per se, but just putting on the most killer show for an event.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah. So has that been your experience then, like finding fulfillment doing these kind of events? Because I think you're mostly doing covers, right?
Yeah, we do 100% covers.
Did you think that you would be playing covers at this stage in your music career, or playing more solo music, or what did you kind of picture your path would be?
My path when I was younger was to be an artist, like everybody that comes to Nashville and wants to do that thing. I started doing the cover thing. I had the typical mindset that a lot of people had of they look down on covers. They look down on cover bands. And it kind of got to the point where I was doing my solo thing and doing that on the side, and I just was not I wasn't able to, I didn't know what to do to get it to the next level. And I wanted to do music full time. And so I kind of started looking at covers. I changed my mind about that and kind of started looking at covers as a means to an end. Oh, okay, I'm going to do this because it's going to give me one, stage time to practice. And the cool thing about covers is that when you're doing cover music, you know the song's good. So you can focus on things that you don't normally get to focus on in your original shows. In your original shows, you're worried about not only is the song good, so you got that going in your head, you're trying to express in the original way that you want it to express this energy and emotion to the audience. You've got 500 things to think about on top of actually doing the performance. So covers kind of takes some of that burden away and gives you the freedom to work on some of your weaknesses. And I'm always about improving weaknesses. I grew up a Michael Jordan fan and a Kobe Bryant fan. So it was all about how can I make my weaknesses better. And so I used the cover thing to basically practice every weekend. And that's what I looked at it as. I looked at it initially as practicing, I'm practicing for being on stage. And as the audience got bigger, it was cool. I could, we've played to 10,000 people now. So it's like, oh gosh, when there's 10,000 people out there, you got to be on your game. And if it's covers, you got to be 100% on your game because you got the comparison from the original artist to you. And so it became almost a challenge and a game to try to grab the audience and pull them in and get them to love me as much as they love the original or in a new way. So I think to kind of wrap that up, there's definitely a stigma with covers and doing covers, but I think once you get past that and you start making money and doing cover music is one of the easiest way to make consistent money. You'll always, if you know 100, 200 songs, you're always going to have a gig. You're always going to be, it doesn't matter if you're an instrumentalist, it doesn't matter if you're a musician or a singer, you will have gigs and you will make consistent income. And in those opportunities, that's going to open up doors for you. So if you're going to a show and you're performing downtown, let's say you go to downtown Broadway and you're performing, you're going to meet other musicians and other singers and other people, and your network's going to grow. And that's the key to the game more than anything, is doing your best at every show, because you don't know who's watching and you don't know what musicians you're playing with. If you show up and you act professional and you know your stuff, you're going to get more gigs and you're going to see that income flow in on that type of thing. Kind of went off a topic from what you asked, but
No. Your relationship with music evolves and changes along the way, and what you might have looked down on, like covers, might totally change when you get to do some of the things that you guys do, like the wedding events. Because one complaint that I've gotten from singers who are doing original music is they have to do the college show circuit, and they hate playing college shows. Because a lot of the times those crowds don't really care about who the artist is. They just want to get drunk, and go out. So, which is fine, but so you're an original artist doing music, touring, but you're playing to people who do not give you any fulfillment. But then on the other hand, you've got this killer cover band who is playing for people's most like significant moment in life, their wedding. And so you're actually doing something that's extremely meaningful and that will be remembered forever. So do you find that your relationship with just music in general has changed or evolved because you're playing those types of events?
I mean, I find fulfillment in it, the fact that we're entertaining people and that we're giving them, you know, I look at it as we're kind of giving them our gift. You know, our gift is we're going to entertain your people and have your people walk away remembering your day. And one of our biggest compliments we often get is people 5 years down the road, we'll see a client at another wedding or something, and they'll come up and they'll be like, people are still talking about my wedding because of you guys. That's all they remember is you guys. They don't even remember us, but they remember you guys. And so there is a fulfillment in that. And I think once you get past the initial, I'm doing cover music thing, I do think that you find a lot of fulfillment in performing music and performing cover music in a way that's your own, because it is your own. Ultimately, that is you expressing as an artist just through that song. It might not be your song, but who cares? Like, you're still showing artistic greatness. If you have artistic greatness, you're showing it through covers. And so I think there's a lot of fulfillment there that people can find if they're willing to be open and let the idea go that, you know, oh, it's covers. I shouldn't do covers. Rah. You know.
And a lot of the times, like, the artist who's known for the song didn't write the song to begin with. So in that sense, it's almost already a cover, you know. Yeah. So anyway, that's the
Elvis Presley wrote hardly any of his music, but I guarantee you that he was fulfilled by getting on stage and performing.
Absolutely. He even did like a Mexican album. Did you know that? Like a traditional Mexican music. Yeah.
Really?
And he's singing in Spanish.
Shut
with
up.
His Elvis. Oh, I love it so much. So he's going Guadalajara, Guadalajara. Yeah, dude, it's phenomenal. But
I gotta look that up.
Yeah. But covers. And that's kind of a segue back to what you said about making money, because I think a lot of us get into this young and we don't necessarily have a plan B about, you know, how am I going to make money if this music thing doesn't work? We don't conceive of the music thing not working, right? Because we're delusional or whatever, you know, or just that driven and in love. So, but at a certain point you do realize I need to start making some money. I've got to pay some bills. Now I'm in a relationship. Now my wife wants to go to Florida and I want to take her to Florida, you know, but I need that Florida vacation money. So, then you do need to start making money. So at what point did that kind of kick in for you of thinking of how do I make music make money?
Man, I don't know if I ever consciously thought about that. I just kind of was always trying to make money somehow doing music. Like, I was always, when I got out of college, I went to Belmont University and did the music thing there, and then got out of college and went and played with my dad's, he had a country band, went and played bass guitar and sang for a country band in Southern Illinois to 50 people, at max 50 people, sometimes 20 people a night, doing a country music, like old school country music. Like,
I didn't know that about you.
Oh, like just old school country music, boom, 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 boom type of stuff. It was ridiculous. And I did that and worked side jobs. I'd always been a valet. I was a valet for many years, and those jobs kept me afloat, and I just kept looking for more music. I don't think I ever really thought about it being a full-time thing until I kind of made the commitment that I'm just going to do it. And I went into production, actually. I got completely out of live music and artists and just did production and did that for other songwriters and worked into that. State your question one more time, because I've gotten sidetracked already.
No, I like where this was going. It was basically, when do you start thinking about making money and trying to make some serious money?
Yeah, I think as you get older, you get more responsibilities. So I think that's when you kind of come to the realization that, oh, hey, I've got to do things that I didn't necessarily dream about doing. A lot of times in music, it's about realizing that your dreams can come true, but not expecting them to be true that day. So you might take gigs. You have to take gigs that you might not necessarily, they're not my dream job. I didn't dream about, becoming a cover band person. That was not my, I wanted to be Garth Brooks. That was my thing that I wanted to be. Accepting that I wasn't to the Garth Brooks level right now, and just, okay, well, what do I need to do today? Well, today I need to go downtown Broadway, and I need to work a couple shifts to make some money so I can pay my rent, so that I can keep working on my artist career. And as you get older and you get more into it, you'll find, and as you talk to more musicians who are the real, true full-time musicians, they all have multiple streams of income. They have multiple streams of money coming in from all different things, whether it's session work, they're touring a little bit, or they're playing live shows, or they're playing with corporate events. They're doing everything and anything on top of their own artist projects. So there's a lot of people out there that can, that play bass guitar. We got a bass guitarist who's, he plays bass guitar, but he's also a full-time artist. Like, he's got his own singing thing and his own music style and everything. It's awesome. And he still plays with us, does the music thing, makes the money, goes that. Some people give lessons. A lot of people give music lessons and stuff like that. So I think, again, it's checking the ego. It's putting the ego aside and saying, I'm going to get there. I'm going to make my career happen eventually, and I'm going to become that artist I want to become. But I do got to make a living along the way. So let's do everything we possibly can. And on top of that, you learn a lot being a cover artist and doing covers and being a part of different bands and being a part of different groups and situations. And it expands your music ability. Just having, it's like seasoning. You learn from every show and every song and every different person you play with. And that in turn makes you a better artist and a better musician. So I think that's really important to get. I think the most successful people in the industry that I know are people that can play just about anything. And they've been in the country band, they've been in the rock bands, they've been in all these different styles of music. Not saying that you have to go out and learn every style of music, but you do want to be flexible to where you live. If you live in Nashville, Tennessee, and you're a drummer, you better know how to play country music and rock music. Like, those are the two styles. You need to know country, rock, and probably pop nowadays, because a lot of the music's turning towards pop downtown and in a lot of gigs. So you better know those styles of music. And don't be, oh, I'm just a jazz guy. We've had a few guys that started with us at first, and they were just jazz guys. And it's like, guy, you need to learn, play that funky music. You need to learn Stevie Wonder. You need to learn Bruno Mars, Yeah. So
A good friend of mine is a professional bass player. And I don't want to burn any of his stories, but I will say, because I want him to, tell him himself, but he's a metal guy with a jazz education who's been playing country the majority of his career. So what you're saying about musicians needing to be proficient at all these different styles, very true.
Very, very true.
Very, very true. And for that jazz guy, it was the local jazz bands that pioneered the kind of rock soul sound for Motown. Yeah. So, those jazz musicians were inventive. That would be maybe the appeal that I would make to these guys. Hey, can you be creative like these other jazz players who ended up, creating the sound of soul? Yeah. But so you have to deal then with a lot of musicians. Maybe you have to contend with their dreams a little bit then, huh? Because you hire them, but they thought that they were going to be Garth Brooks or Olivia Rodrigo or who knows, Janet Jackson. I don't know who they think about. And you have to step in and say, it's okay to do this while you're on your way to what your dreams are. Because they think that they're kind of sacrificing their dream to do cover shows. Is that right? Do you deal with that a lot?
Yeah. We have quite a few people that, singer-wise, we have they're all artists. They all want to be the next whoever. So there's definitely what they see as sacrifice happening for them, and they tend to have to, it's really a sales job. You have to sell them to like say, listen, you're getting something out of this. And for many of them, we're fortunate, we get them pretty young.
Yeah.
So they come out of Belmont and these other music schools and join us, and they're pretty green, to say the least, on stage. So they don't quite understand a lot of stuff. So for the first, 4 or 5 years, they're usually pretty positive to what we do because they're learning so much and they're getting so much stage time. And so we'll have, later on in their career, they're like, I got to move on. I got to do something else, because they feel like they've learned everything that they can. And to some extent they have. Like they walk away, much better entertainers than they came to us as. It's like with anybody, you have to show them that, hey, it's okay to do this path alongside while you walk and you work on your other thing. Until your other thing begins making you money, do this, because this is as close as you can get. Being in a cover band is the closest you can get to being an artist. So that's an opportunity to practice. You don't have to think about the music. You can just focus on the show side of it. You can focus on, okay, I can try stuff. That's one of my biggest things, is I like to try things in the cover shows, because it's like, hey, can I get away with this? How do I talk to an audience? Learning how to talk to an audience. You learn that at a cover show, because you don't want to learn that at your original show. You want to learn that at a cover show where it doesn't matter, there's no pressure. You can figure out how to say things, how to talk to people, how to get people to do stuff. There's an art to drawing the audience in and controlling them. You think that, you see people, oh, hey, raise your hands up and down, that type of thing. Well, that's easier said than done. It's not just, oh, I'm the artist, they'll do that naturally. They're not going to do that. If you don't have authority on stage, if you don't show that to the audience that, oh, hey, I'm the director here. Yeah. I'm telling you how to have a good time tonight. Do everything I say, you'll have a good time. You have to practice that and get good at that. And when you're in cover bands and you're doing that paired with your artist career, you end up becoming stronger in the end, because every day of practice is a day of practice, and every day of a practice stacks towards you being the best you can possibly be.
And you might be introducing them for the first time to that mentality, though, right? Of performing, because I think, again, a lot of us think that it's the massive ego. And I think a lot of teachers growing up and just friends and family are doing you a disservice by encouraging that ego. Sometimes it's helpful, because, again, the ego is what makes you go for it. But they're telling you, they give you the impression that whatever you like to play, whatever song it is, whatever mood it is, that everyone will want to listen to it because you're so special. And then you get on stages and you do a deep cut of a song that no one's ever heard from a famous artist that's freaking depressing, and you completely clear the room of the audience that was there. And then you go, oh, maybe that's not the case. Maybe people don't want to hear these songs.
Yes.
And I think there's like an ego death that has to happen there for you to realize that what happens on the stage, there actually is kind of a way things are done. Yes. In order to actually give the audience a live show. Yeah. And one of the things you don't do necessarily, unless you can do it like a freaking master, is obscure, depressing songs.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have a strict rule in my band that like there's lots of our musicians and our artists, our singers, that get upset with me because I'm very much, it has to be everybody, young and old, know this song. Like that's the level of the song that it has to be a hit of to get into our show. And we don't do B-side anything, because if everybody doesn't know it, they're not going to know it. And if they don't know it, they disengage. Again, if you're choosing music that somebody doesn't know, you're just going to disengage. Unless you're absolutely singing something incredibly like nobody's ever heard in their entire life. You're yodeling or doing something operatic in a pop song or something crazy to keep their attention. If you're singing some B, I don't care if it's even a Beyonce song. It's some B track of Beyonce. Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna start talking to their friend. They're gonna take that opportunity to go get a drink. Mm-hmm. They're gonna take any opportunity they can and do anything else other than be bored by a song they don't know. Yeah. Now, if they know the song, oh, well, I know this song. I want to sing along, or what are they gonna do with it? Oh, I know, when we do Tennessee Whiskey, it's a slow song, it's a sad song, mm-hmm. but everybody knows Tennessee Whiskey. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows, it's going to get, everybody's waiting for that trick. Yeah, Can they get to the trick? Do the trick, do the trick. Oh, he did the trick. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, didn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that anticipation builds into the songs because they're great songs and everybody knows them. And thus everybody stays involved. We've had many conversations. I have many conversations. There's many songs in our show that I wish we could do. There's B songs that I love. Yeah. And there's many songs that are hit songs that still don't pop live. Yeah. So like artists like, I love The Weeknd. I love Dua Lipa. Mm-hmm. I love Ed Sheeran. Mm-hmm. Their songs do not pop live most of the time. They're great songs. On CD, they pop like crazy, but in the live setting, they just don't have that energy that, play that funky music or Bruno Mars or, Beyonce, like the big hits from Beyonce do. Those songs for some reason grab people more than those Dua Lipa type of songs. And so we have to cut them. We try them out. If it doesn't pop with the audience, if the audience doesn't react, we'll give it one or two audiences to just make sure. But we've cut a lot of good songs that were hit songs. We've tried them, and we're just like, meh. The audience is just kind of meh. Thus, it's out. It doesn't matter how much I love it. It doesn't matter how much any of us love it. That's just the rule. You have to. It's about the entertainment. It's about the product first. Mm-hmm. And it's about our egos and our wants as musicians. And that's something, too, that I think a lot of younger musicians and artists don't realize. And even cover bands, a lot of times, people that start cover bands don't realize is that your main goal is to entertain people. Yeah. Like, that's the whole purpose of being a live musician, is to entertain people, to give them something in those moments that they're going to be excited about and going to want to see again. And you can't always get people excited about what you're excited about. Mm-hmm. You may love a particular artist, you may love a particular style, but if the audience doesn't, you're not going to get paid as much money. You're not going to have as many gigs. Mm-hmm. Because they're not walking away going, oh my God, I've got to see this band again. I've got to watch this show again. I've got to feel this again. Mm-hmm. That's what you want people every show. You want somebody walking away going, oh my gosh, this is, when can I see this band again? Can I come back and see you guys tomorrow night? Mm-hmm. That's what you want. Absolutely. And I think, for the solo artists, and you're a solo artist too. Yeah. You've got a lot of music that's coming down the pipeline that is phenomenal. It is that. So good. And there's this really fun song that I won't mention the title of. That's I think the viral factor on that one is so high, so I can't wait for it to come out, man. But and you've got me neither.
And that's a fun song, but you've got serious songs and everything. So. Yeah. Anyway, I'm being long-winded. What I want to say is that the skills that you develop on stage, you kind of just said it, they just teach you how to be a better entertainer, and you can completely take those skills and utilize them to make your live solo music hit better too. Because I've been at only a small handful of shows, like the Whiskey Jams, where it's a bunch of acts that I've never heard of. A few times there has been killer performers who figure out how to do audience participation with an audience that doesn't know their music. They're like, we're going to teach you the chorus, and when I sing this part, you're going to sing that part. And now they just sucked me in. Yeah. I didn't know the song, but I'm having just as good a time, if not a better time, because I know how the song goes a little bit. And now I feel like I'm also being supportive of a new act a little
Yeah.
bit. It's like, yeah, man, if you're going to include me, then I'll definitely, give you back my energy.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So would you say that is the case, that you can take these skills and...
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Everything that you do in a cover show can be transferred into your own artist career. And you can try, like I said before, you can try things out on stage at a cover show that you then take and put into your show. So you'll take this aspect of, okay, like for the teaching the people chorus, we teach people how to dance.
Okay.
We have an entire song. It's an entire dance thing, and it's 4 easy steps to the dance. But we teach the entire audience how to dance, and we take this moment in the show. And so that type of thing can be done with your original music. If you want to teach them how to sing, or you want to teach them how to do something, or you want to have them clap at a certain time, all those types of things you practice and perfect in cover shows, and then it's there, and it feels natural. And that's one of the things that a lot of times people think they know, and they've never done it before. They think they know how it's going to go on stage. But if you've never tried it out before, under no pressure, when you get up on your biggest moment, you're going to freeze. If you can be the greatest artist in the world, but if you've never been on stage in front of people, you're not necessarily going to perform at your peak, especially on the entertainment side.
Is that just a matter of reps, getting on stage more so that you're...
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, reps is the key to everything. You want to be a great piano player, you don't, practice once a week. No, you practice every day, and you work on it's a lot of basic stuff, like similar to practicing scales on a piano. If you're being a piano player, you practice scales, you practice, different intervals, different patterns with your hands and everything. With stage stuff, there is reps to being in front of a microphone, being in front of an audience, moving around on stage, dancing. If you dance in your show, if you want to add that element to your show to make it more entertaining, all of that requires you to practice and do. And the more you do it, the more in your body it is. Mm-hmm. We all know the difference between a 12-year-old piano player versus a 36-year-old piano player. Mm-hmm. If they're both playing Fur Elise, we can see the difference. Yeah. And the difference is in the body. The 12-year-old may play the notes right, but you can see a huge seasoning difference between them and that older musician, because that older musician's done it so many more times. The reps count. That's Kobe Bryant. You see, Kobe Bryant. I always go back to Kobe because he's my hero. But he always talked about how he would spend hours every day practicing the basic things. You hear stories about him. Yeah, he's in there doing basic drills. Even at his peak, he's doing the basics. And his firm belief was, if I can do the basics better than everybody else in the world, that's going to set me up for everything on top of that. Stage stuff, doing entertainment with consistency, no matter what gig it is, no matter how few people you're playing to, getting up on stage is a rep. And you have to have that if you want to be like the greatest.
Absolutely. Where I go to, as you're describing that, is getting comfortable moving your body on stage, I think, takes a long time. And this is where being a part of a cover band, being a part of any sort of live performance ensemble is really useful, because you'll have sounding boards with your friends or people who will become your friends. And you need those, because one thing you can't do when you're on stage is watch yourself, per se. Well, if you have like big mirrors and stuff like some of the rehearsal facilities do, but you're not watching yourself as you're performing. And so like one thought that I remember having is like, I feel like I'm supposed to gyrate my hips a little bit while I'm on stage, but I want to make sure that I don't gyrate them inappropriately. You know what I mean? I'm like doing this cool like soul song. I don't want to do this wrong. And in that moment, you're like, oh, I wish I had someone like a Jason or your wife Anna, a choreographer, to tell me like gyrate, but not that way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'd imagine that's a huge benefit as well, right? For everyone who's part of the band, is that they get perspective from everyone else. You're kind of all refining each other.
Yeah. Yeah, feedback. There's lots of different feedback loops when you're playing with other people, and you're constantly and you're seeing it. So you're watching other people do the same stuff that you're supposed to do, and you're picking up nuanced stuff. I know that all of our like singers have all improved dramatically because they're able to watch each other. And like one strength that they may be great at something, but they'll see the weakness of something that they're doing, and you'll see them over the years, they morph, and they all there becomes a cohesiveness to how they look and how they do the moves and everything else.
Yeah, one of the best ways to get better, you just reminded me of it, is watching people who suck do the thing. Because then you kind of go, you realize, oh, I need to make sure not to do that, whatever it is. And we all suck at stuff, so it's not like I'm saying, we're great and everyone sucks. But it's really useful to see someone make certain mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah, better to learn that way. Better to feel the cringe that comes from hearing that person like insult the audience thinking it would be charming.
Yeah.
And it doesn't land at all, Yes. Like, okay, maybe let's not call them names, That's like, oh, I just saw it recently, man, and I was cringing so hard. It was at a showcase, and the singer, she was mad that the audience wasn't like more into her original music. So she was like, this is a bad crowd. And she's like, come on, guys. And then she got so flustered that she started cussing at them a little bit. And I just wanted to like crawl into a hole like for her. I was so embarrassed.
I've felt that before, even in the cover shows.
Yeah.
We've had a few audiences where people just weren't getting up and dancing, and I was in a mood one night. There's been a couple times where I've been in moods where I'm like, all right, should we just pack up and leave? Like, I literally ask I'm like, should we pack up and leave? Like, do you guys really want to party? Because it doesn't seem like you do. You just are sitting out there. So I've been there and I've experienced that. There's a definite difficulty when people aren't reacting. But ultimately, that goes back to you. That goes back to your weakness. Yeah. You have to, as an artist, you have to walk away from that event and go, okay, what didn't I do well? Because I don't care where you put Michael Jackson down. It doesn't matter if he was not known as Michael Jackson. You stick Michael Jackson and you stick his performance, him doing a song on stage, he's going to captivate an audience. So if you're not captivating the audience and they're not into it, you're doing something wrong. You're either overvaluing some aspect of your performance. So like a lot of times we struggle with this the most with our people, is that a lot of our people are just musicians. They don't care about performance. So they don't care about how they look. They don't care about how they act on stage. They just care, did I hit every note? Did I get every note right? Well, that doesn't matter in live performance as much. Yes, it's a key. You have to be at a certain level at a live performance. But the rest of it means so much. You can't just be that perfectionist that you can normally be like in a studio. In a studio, you can be perfect about the music and worry about every nuance. But if you're doing that in a live show, then you're missing that interactivity that happens between you and the audience. And if you're not doing that interactivity, that's entirely 100% you. You've got to refocus. We have to refocus our musicians of, listen, you talk about the cringe thing. We have a meeting every year, and it's a company-wide meeting, and I show pictures of like dress. So like we'll show cringe pictures of these bands. Oh. I'll grab band pictures.
Okay, not your own band.
Not our own band.
Okay.
But I'll grab band pictures of these bands where they're like in these non-fitted outfits, like suits and white tie, and just as not put together at all. And I make the point of, okay, these people are trying to make money doing this, and they look like they just rolled out of bed. Maybe they got jeans and like crappy t-shirts on, and their hair isn't done. There's no anything to it. And they're trying to compete against us. Now, I'm going to show you who the professionals are. We're going to go and look at the professionals. Well, then I'll pull up a picture of Bruno Mars, or, one of my favorites is Lenny Kravitz. He looks like he's a badass.
Yeah.
He dresses like a superstar. And I'm like, the closer you are to dressing like that person, the more money we can charge. And it's a small thing. Showing up to a gig and looking like a professional changes everybody's perception about you. If you walk on stage and you look like $1 million, you're going to get a lot closer to charging $1 million than anybody else. If you walk on and you look like I'm a weekend warrior, well, and you're going to get paid like a weekend warrior, which is crap. So taking all of those aspects and realizing that there's so many aspects to capturing an audience, that's what that artist needs to realize. Oh, I did something wrong. A lot of them don't. They think it's the audience's fault. No, if the audience isn't buying it, there's a reason, and it's you. It's not them. It's you. You failed at some aspect of it, whether it's entertainment, whether it's the way you look, whether it's your song selection, whatever it is. You failed at one of those aspects. Get back to the drawing board, figure it out, and come back and try again.
So on that note, going back to that performance where you insulted the audience, and I've done it too. So I want to make sure I don't just talk smack and not, bring it back to me. There's been plenty of times where I was like, come to the front stage, come to the front, and no one's coming, and then you get mad. Yep. So I get it. I've been there. What would you instruct your younger self to have done not to go through that experience?
I mean, the fact is that you're just going to have audiences that are like that sometimes. And so you have to stick to your guns. You try to figure out, was it something that we did? Now, we've done so many shows now that we know that it's not personal. It's not our fault that they're not into it right now. They just either they want to eat, or they want to talk to their friends, or it's a business conference and they get scared and they don't want to get embarrassed in front of people that they are trying to impress. There's all sorts of different factors that go into why an audience doesn't react. So you analyze, but then you just have to realize that that's just a part of it. You're just going to have some shows where people don't react. And you have to just kind of go, yeah, cool, I'm going to have fun. And sometimes when you let go like that, if you can get yourself to let go, now sometimes I won't, because I get frustrated, and I'm, it's a job. Yeah. After you do music for long enough, it becomes a job. And you don't always want, like, my favorite part of the job is that connection and giving that energy back and forth with people. So if I'm not getting that, I'm not getting the thing that drives me to want to be there. So then it gets into, this is a job, and I don't want to be here, and I don't want to do this, and screw these people, and all of that comes up because it's like, working at a burger joint. You're like 500 customers yell at you, and you're like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this, right? You have to kind of suppress that and just go, okay, I'm just going to have fun. And sometimes when you have that fun and you let loose, you can oftentimes get the audience up because of that. Because you're so loose and you're having fun, they think they're missing out. So we'll sing to each other. Mm-hmm. So like we'll stop singing out to them, and we'll just be like, screw them. All right, cool. We're gonna just sing to each other. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna dance around like idiots and do our whole thing and be all into it. And then as people jump up, we'll give them a bunch of attention. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing people want. Mm-hmm. People want attention. Absolutely. They definitely want attention from artists on stage because you're in a position of power in the room. Mm-hmm. You're the person that has the microphone. Yeah. So they want your attention. And if you give it to them and you're interacting with them, they're going to eventually, and sometimes they won't, but most of the time they will.
Yeah.
Most of the time they'll come around.
Attention is fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best part. That's the whole reason we're in it, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Who's really in it for anything other than attention? We all are a bunch of attention-starved musicians. We play music because we want to be out in the center of everybody. Most of us. Yeah. Some people, just want to be in their closet playing guitar. But
even if you're a shy guy in the audience, if someone from the stage compliments you, even just that quick positive attention, you're like, Yeah. There was a totally irrelevant, but I want to share this story with you. I went to Zanies. I love stand-up comedy, you know, and so it was a black comedian with a mostly black audience. I was the one Mexican guy in the room. I know because like the headliner's like opening thing was basically feeling out the room. You know, like, white boys, where are my white boys, you know, and then like all of that. And so I was the one Mexican. She's like, where are the Hispanics at? So then she had a battle of the races on the stage with like entertainment. So she's like, all right, I need one person from every culture. And you went to the back and chose a song, and then you're going to go on stage and dance to your song. So
What'd you pick?
Oh man, so there's this
Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
Ricky Martin.
I'm not that sexy. I picked, there's this very famous traditional Mexican mariachi artist named Vicente Fernandez.
Okay.
And he has some big Mexican operatic kind of vocals to his song. So backstage, I was like, hey, this is the song. And I go, I am a singer. Give me the microphone when I get up there.
Let's go.
And so they gave me the mic. I like tucked in my shirt, you know, to look a little more formal. And everyone ate that up. Oh, man. And then like the first note I sang, it didn't even have to be good.
Yeah.
It was good, but it didn't have to be good. I just kind of put my hand out and went, oh. And like, dude, killed. I wish it was on tape just because I'd want to show that to everybody. It was so much fun. But yeah, getting a positive like crowd pop like that.
There's nothing like it.
No, nothing.
There's nothing like being on stage and having that energy come back to you.
Mm-hmm. And that's like a silly version of it, and I still loved it, you know? So it doesn't necessarily have to be serious.
No, it doesn't have to be serious at all.
Well, we've talked a lot about the stagecraft aspect of it. Let me reset that.
Do. Yeah, when I was in, you had that moment of that thing with the stand-up comedian thing. I was laughing. I thought of this time when I was in high school, and I was in marching band, and we did this halftime performance, and we were playing Mrs. Doubtfire's, one of the Mrs. Doubtfire songs, and I went to the back, so we had like the color guard, like flag people put up a little thing, and I like went to the back and like I'm like stripping off my band uniform and I'm putting on the Mrs. Doubtfire outfit in front of the opposing fans. The entire opposing fan stands are all right there and they're all watching me strip my clothes off and they're going, woo! I'm crazy, and I'm like what's up, you know what, I'm doing this little 17-year-old me doing this and then running around as Mrs. Doubtfire, but it's that high that you get from like just a random crowd and doing something like I remember them more than I do the home audience because it was so unexpected, and those unexpected moments of just attention and you're the center of the show for a minute. It's so much fun.
Oh yeah, I love those. Oh, that's so funny, dude. Yeah. 17-year-old me would have loved that as well if I was in your shoes doing that. Yeah. That's like the age where you think like, this probably, I'll cut it out, but the philosophy of mooning someone is hilarious to me because it's like, I exposed myself, joke's on you.
Yeah. Exactly right.
It's a strange mentality, but anyway.
Back to business.
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah. We talked about stagecraft, you know, all the different mentalities that go with it. I think the very real thing that no matter whether you're a cover artist or original artist, you need to think about making money eventually because that's what all the conversations are going to be with your label. And you might not like that. Anyway, we talked about the reality of the music industry is about making money, and that means serving people well and giving them what they want to a certain extent. But let's get into the specific business side. Like, you employ a ton of musicians, right?
Don't employ. They're all independent contractors.
Oh, okay. IRS, if you're listening.
We only employ 3 people.
Okay. If the IRS is listening, they're 1099s. They're not W-2s.
They're all independent contractors.
Got it.
We're very strict on that.
What is the... so your band comes in multiple outfits, right? Meaning you've got smaller size bands and larger size bands depending on the event. So what's the bigger size?
The biggest size we have is 12 South, which is a 15-piece band. And that the 12 South will vary from the smallest we usually go with 12 South is 10-piece up to 15-piece. And that includes keys, guitar, bass, drums, usually 5 singers, and then a 3-piece horn section. And then for the 15-piece, we add 2 hip-hop dancers, just to add a new aspect to it, yeah. And then we have our next level band is called 8 South, and they start at about a 10-piece. Their biggest is 10. Maybe they'll do a 12-piece sometimes, but most of the time they're 8 or 9 pieces. And then we get down to 6 South, and that's for like small stuff, and that's like usually a 7-piece. So it'll be the 4 instruments and 3 singers. And then we have our country band, which that scales from, it starts at 7, well, it can go down to like 3 people on up to 12 or whatever. We just we do it according to whatever the client wants.
And so I know that at times you've got multiple of these bands performing at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep, every weekend.
Every weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you develop that type of business? Because I'd imagine that if you're not getting gigs for your 1099s, that they would just go.
Yeah, we've done a lot of. You do it through promotion. You do it through like advertising, as in like having a music video. We basically create music videos that we put out, and that kind of shows our show. And then you have different booking agents. Unless you're going with one exclusively, you can interact with different booking agents. And then a lot of it's just word of mouth. I mean, a lot of the growth for getting gigs is through word of mouth and through doing a good show. And then somebody goes, oh, I want this person. And then the clients are asking for us for new planners. So new event planners or wedding planners are forced to use us because the client wants us. And then they see us and they like us, and then they suggest us to all their future clients. And that's kind of how it grows. It usually takes, for normal wedding bands, like the best that are doing the biggest shows, it normally takes about 20, 30 years to get in those super high-end places. We're, close to the highest of the high, but there's still gigs that we just don't have access to because there's other bands that have been around longer than ours that have those planners' ears, and once a planner trusts you, you're in, like, no problem. But if they don't know you, I mean, when you get up to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million events, you're not going to get trusted just by, hey, I'm good at playing music. No, you've got to have evidence that you're great. And then they've got to be willing to take that risk, because if it's on their head if the event sucks and you don't do well. So securing the gigs is a lot about giving that full presentation of professionalism. Like, what are the general stereotypes of musicians? They're late. They show up not, prepared. They get drunk. They're doing drugs. They're doing all sorts of stuff, right? So we took kind of, our thing is, we're going to be none of those stereotypes. We're going to be the event band that people want to work with because we're professional. We show up in shirts. Like, we have all these shirts. Everybody has to wear a shirt and show up and look cohesive, like we're a professional company and that we're doing this to the best of our abilities. We don't allow alcohol. We don't allow drugs. Like, we just don't allow that stuff. And it's worked well for us. We've grown a lot faster than other bands who have been around for the same amount of time or less. But there is definitely, securing gigs is really key to getting more quality musicians, because the more consistent work you can give them, the more they're going to be into being a part of your system.
So initially, were you reaching out to event planners and those types of people to try to get gigs?
Yeah, we were on all the different websites. There's a bunch of different websites, Wedding Wire and Gig Masters and all these other things back in the old days. We had a website and we had a video. And then we would reach out to booking agents and to planners and people like that and send them like a press kit type of thing.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's how we kind of got some. And then, I mean, really the vast majority of it, though, came from, we set up a Google page. We were one of the first bands in Nashville to have a Google and have Google ratings. And we really went hard in on that so that when people searched Nashville Wedding Band, they would find us. And we did a lot of SEO work on our website so that we could be found immediately. And we got up high in the searches where we were, you know, either the top or one of the top anytime you searched anything to do with corporate event band, wedding band, any of that. All of that was thought about. We spent a lot of time, Anna and I spent a lot of time thinking about how to stand out from all the other bands so that we could get a better chance at landing gigs. And then, you know, it's about creating a great video and having great product when you actually deliver so that people start buzzing about it.
And that the video thing is a nice segue into something I wanted to talk about kind of extensively, but maybe we just get into it briefly today, is, again, ever the businessman that you are and the creative, I don't know how much of this I can talk about either, so you just stop me, but you pitched a reality TV show.
Yeah.
And then you got picked up and some stuff happened, but
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, we had some characters in our band at the time, and anybody who's in the event industry, the event entertainment industry, if you run a wedding band or if you've been a part of a wedding band or event bands, there's lots of drama. Anytime you're in events, there's drama. So whether it's the planner is neurotic or, you know, the client's neurotic or somebody's crazy or, you know, with our musicians, the particular crew that we had at this time were a little bit crazy. Like they were a little nuts. They were young, they were wild, and they're giant personalities. And so we put together basically a TV show. I spent a bunch of money to shoot a thing that followed us around and basically shot a mini reality show. And we pitched it we had a friend out in Hollywood who wanted to get us signed and everything, and he pitched it around. We got picked up by a subset of Warner Brothers called Rooster Teeth. They used to make Red versus Blue. That was their big notoriety, but they were Rooster Teeth was trying to go into reality TV. And so they signed us, and we were getting to the point, like we were like a month away from having them come out and shoot everything and get ready to pitch, because you have to get a production company first, and then you get to the distribution like Netflix and all that. So they had to come and shoot something to create for Netflix and all these other production or distribution people. And so they came out, or they were going to come out, and on a random Tuesday, Warner Brothers shut the company down. And so we lost our deal. And with it, like basically when that happened, we lost two of our singers and our keyboardist. A keyboardist moved, and the other singer quit, and the other singer was just kind of checked out. And we just could never get the same mojo back, so we kind of had to let the dream die on the vine. It was one of those that I still to this day think it would have been a hit reality TV show, and I've shown people the like thing that we had, the video that we had, and everybody's like, I'd watch this in a heartbeat because it's so entertaining.
You showed it to me. I wanted to see how this unfolded, you know. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, there's so much drama in the industry, and there's so much behind the scenes drama that you just don't see. And you don't, it's kind of like we compared it a lot to the one about the yachts, the people that work on yachts, how they're dealing with these high-end clients and all that. It's very similar. You have situations that pop up that you're just like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, Below Deck, that one.
Yep. Yep.
And I'd imagine that a lot of the clients might actually be even more interested If they know that there's a production company, a network.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Some were and some weren't. We had already begun talking to people about it because we had to come up with dates that we could do it. So we were introducing it. And some people were like, "Meh, I don't want to be a part of something," because they don't know it at all. Mm-hmm. But other people were like, "Yeah, cool. You're gonna have video cameras at my wedding? Yeah, cool. Do I get the footage?" Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course you get the footage. No problem.
Did the going back to the different clients that you have, did the corporate clients come the way that the wedding ones did?
It's pretty similar. It's kind of like once you get in with the planners, there a lot of times planners are doing not just weddings. Some of them do the corporate events as well. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of times, some of the times it would be that the people would actually be at a wedding and see us, and then they'd go to their bosses and be like, "Oh, you got to have this band. You got to try this band," or whatever. We also did well getting into fundraisers. If you can get into fundraisers early, like we got into, he was a figure skater, Scott Hamilton. Scott Hamilton, is that his name? I think it's Scott Hamilton.
Wish I knew.
I'm like 99% sure. I should know this because it's Scott Hamilton. Yeah, it's Scott Hamilton because he does a big cancer. Fundraiser every year, and we got into that really early. We were friends with the planner, and had met the planner at a wedding, and then he got us into that. Those types of fundraisers, you get around more wealthy people at fundraisers. And that tends to open doors for you because when they see you, they're like, "Oh, you got to have this band. You got to go get this band." Mm-hmm. So I think fundraisers were a key early on to trying to land bigger and bigger gigs. And of course, you eventually get celebrity type stuff. That helps as well to give you credibility and make dreams happen.
Yeah, you've shared the stage with a couple of big stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. You're dang right I did. Yeah, we did Bobby Bones's wedding, and I got to sing with Kix Brooks. Or no, sorry, Ronnie Dunn. Kix Brooks. Ronnie Dunn.
Yeah.
I sang with Ronnie Dunn and the guy from Gary LaVox, the lead singer of Rascal Flatts. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we got to be the band next to them. I got to stand next to Ronnie and sing,
And it doesn't matter what you freaking sang. You shared the stage with Ronnie Dunn.
There you go, brother.
Yeah, if you just being on the stage at the same time as him is like something you can boast about forever, but much less that you're actually playing.
And we got to close for Earth, Wind, and Fire. They were our opening act.
Was that for the Mardi Gras stuff?
No, it was for a wedding.
Oh.
Yeah, a big wedding in Brentwood, Tennessee. Uh-huh. And they brought in this entire $2 million tent and everything and had Earth, Wind, and Fire. They got up and performed, and then we closed the night. It was awesome.
So I'm just curious, if you're just thinking about the making money portion, which is important, as we've established, what is like the dream gig? Is it like doing a wedding for one of these oil barons or tech barons? Is that the kind of, if you're trying to make the most money?
Yeah, I mean, the dream gig. Well, the dream gig is if you're just trying to make money.
Yeah, just money.
Then yeah, it's getting into those ginormously rich people. Like the giant weddings, the giant events, the presidential ball, that type of stuff. Like all these celebrities, a lot of times these celebrities throw, parties, and you want to be playing the celebrities' parties.
And I know that a large factor when it comes to these massive events is also boasting about how much you spent on the different things. Yeah. Like I knew one Wall Street guy who, his daughter got married and he spent $250,000 just on the floral arrangements, and so the reason that this person, the Wall Street guy was like a friend of a friend. And so the reason my buddy knows how much he spent is because he's telling people how much he spent, because again, that's a whole part of it. So in that case, would you have upsells for?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are the upsells?
Our upsells are bigger band versions. adding extra players, extra instruments, extra dancers. We have lots of different add-on packages. We'll add on sparkler cannons. We'll add on extra lights, lasers, fog, all that types of stuff to enhance the show and make it bigger and better. Just depends on what they want and what they're trying to go for. We have wanted to get, we're starting, we just, we hired a kind of a chief operating officer recently, and her job is to kind of expand those options even further. Like I want to get more into having a DJ service, having just everything. I mean, ultimately my goal long term is to, own the entire thing of we're the planner, maybe the event space eventually, we're the entertainment, we're the everything. And get that entire aspect as add-ons for what we want to do. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's amazing though, because you're just providing such a big service to the people that you hire, because you're the one giving the singers and the players the gigs, also the engineers, right? You have a staff of engineers, and just all the rest of it. So we need people like you so that, the artists or, the musicians who don't think about business can still make money doing their thing, right? Because growing up, all I would really hear is you're either going to be like maybe a wedding band. Sometimes that would come up, but either you're a famous artist, you're a wedding band, or you sing on cruises. Yeah. And that's kind of it's so much bigger than that, but that's kind of all you hear about. So how would you kind of summarize then what you call the band? I know I asked this in the beginning, but my memory's failing me. You don't call yourself a corporate band or a wedding band.
It's just we're an event entertainment, like any event entertainment band. Like we don't even like to call ourselves a band. We like to call ourselves an experience. Mm-hmm. And that's just, once again, it goes back to trying to delineate ourselves from everybody else. But on top of that, that's what we're trying to build for people every show is an experience. We want you to walk away having felt an experience. And you have to study the best, and the best do that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. The best in the industry, even in the cover band industry. If you go to the top echelon bands that have been there for 30 years, a lot of them do a lot of the aspects that are simple entertainment stuff. Mm-hmm. They're not standing up there looking at their iPads. They're not reading their music off their iPads. They've got everything memorized, because that type of stuff is the difference between I'm a $1,000 band and I'm a $100,000 band. And I always want to be striving towards 100,000. I want that to be our every gig payday,
Absolutely. Well, before we close for today, the intent behind this is to just make these types of conversations available to other people.
Yeah.
Because when you and I talk, you're telling me about all these different ways that you're making money, musicians are making money, and it's really useful. It's really mind expanding. Again, like the younger me was just thinking, be famous or be on a cruise. You don't know that there's these other options. So yeah. I hope that this gives people a bigger perspective. And then you just shared so much about the stagecraft aspect of it and creating the moments and stuff. But that's the whole purpose behind doing this, is trying to make these conversations accessible, to try to help out musicians. It's really what it comes down to. But give me 1 second to pull it up.
Oh, Lord.
You would have said, memorize the question, Benny, if I was working for you.
We can just cut. We can just, edit it. You just read it right down here, and then you can just cut the and paste the video.
Let me memorize it real quick. Shout out Bronwyn. Bronwyn, she wants to know, how many hours a week do you rehearse to practice and learn new songs? And that's an interesting question to me, because you guys have a very choreographed show. Yeah. So it's not just like show up and know your parts.
It is just show up and know your parts.
It is? What?
That's probably why people don't like me too much, is because we don't have any rehearsals. We use our sound checks as rehearsals for new material.
Got it.
So when we add something, I'll send it out ahead of time. We send out the dancing videos, what you're going to do choreography wise, and then you're expected to show up and know it. And we'll practice it in our sound checks for a while, and then it's just, you've got to know it. So we're definitely practicing. I practice personally, vocally, and all of that type of stuff, and trying to be better at stuff. But as far as the show, our show in particular doesn't change a ton, because like I said, there's only so many hit songs out there. So there's only so many songs that connect with the audience. Thus, there's only so many songs we can do. And newer stuff that comes out, sometimes we'll jump on the bandwagon if it's a really smash hit, like Golden right now is a huge song. So we're going to add it to the show and we're going to try it. But we're going to tag it into somewhere where we can remove it or whatever. And we'll go and we'll try it, and everybody will learn it, and we'll put choreography to it. And then we'll test it out and see if it works. And if it works, we'll keep it. And if it doesn't...
So what about the choreography part? How do the musicians learn that part?
Most of the time it's at the sound checks, but they are supposed to learn them ahead of time. They have to have an idea of it ahead of time. They can't just show up and know nothing.
So do they get like a video of it?
Yeah,
or something? Okay.
yeah. Anna will make videos. She makes videos for everything, and we have a video library. So we're very organized. We have a Dropbox library that you can go to get all the charts, to the medleys, all the dancing, to everything, all the choreography.
So basically, you don't have to do a whole lot of rehearsing because you've already got the materials ahead of time.
Yep.
You give them to people, and you just expect them to be professionals and learn them.
Yes.
And know them when they show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the choreography part of it, again, a lot of musicians don't dance. They're focused on their instrument. So I'm curious, do they often ask or have questions about the dancing? Like,
They
do I
do.
know if I'm doing it right? Or
Yeah, they'll have to come in every once in a while. Like a lot of times, especially when you're first getting up and running with our company in particular, you have to come in and you have to practice with other people and kind of learn how to do it. They'll meet with Anna or our other girl McKenna, and they'll teach them. They'll like fix the things that they're doing. You have to know the video. You have to learn the videos, but then they'll fix the nuanced stuff of how you're doing it and try to help you with it. But it's very, I mean, we're kind of cold like that. Once again, it's about setting a professional standard. We don't want to look at people as less than professional. And there's no other job where you show up not knowing how to do your job. Yeah, maybe you're learning some aspects of it, but you have to know the basics to get the job. So you better know the basics. We're going to give you the basics, but I'm not going to spend my time trying to teach you how to do your job. That's yours. So we kind of try to treat people that way of, no, you're a professional. You say you're a professional. You want a professional gig. You're not going to Broadway in New York wanting to be a Broadway singer and not knowing the musical that you're trying out for. You better have that damn thing memorized and know it and know every aspect of it. Yeah, you might not know all the choreography because they're going to teach you the choreography, but when you get the choreography, you need to know the choreography, right? And it's that same mentality. I believe that bringing that to everything that you do in your life ends up with a better product and eventually gives you more money and more success. Because, I mean, that's ultimately what it's about, is standing out as the professional.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for doing this today, man.
Thanks for having me, Benny.
Yeah.
I appreciate
There's
you.
a lot more to get into that we didn't get into, and maybe would be even more on theme. Benny's booth was like a play on the vocal booth, and we didn't talk about your vocal journey, which is a whole story all its own.
It's
So
quite an adventure.
if you would come back and share that story, and we can get into it.
I would definitely love to come back and talk again. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. And then also celebrating when you release whatever song is being released first.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
It's coming soon.
Because I want to be the guy that was like, hey, he was on the podcast before this song went super viral. I think it's just going to be a party hit, man.
We'll see if it happens. We'll see if it happens.
Well, thanks again, sir.
Thank you, brother. I
Bye,
appreciate
guys.
you.